Is that better? I don't feel like any of this is better. I don't care. I don't care. I want to film. I want to film. Okay, well, unfortunately, filming at home means that you are not always filming with the best of equipment and the best of lighting conditions. And especially when you have to drop off your inventory the next day, it means that you have to make certain filmography choices on the fly. But today is a really exciting day because I am doing the official launch of the Little Witch Studio yarn collection. I'm out of breath. I said this last time, I was out of breath. And I also said this last time, like, pardon the face, part of the fact that I didn't get like fancy dress or anything. This is me in my like studio chaos. But in preparation for today's video, I took copious notes about what I want to talk about and how I want to go about it because I am very, very excited for today's launch video. Now, I did mention in my previous video, which was the actual podcast and advent calendar announcement, that I'm working with a store to launch my very own hand-dyed yarns. Now, it's done at a very, very, very teeny tiny level. It's not like I'm a business, like huge business or anything. This is really like a showcase for local artists to be able to like show their craftsmanship and to like, put their stuff out in the community. So I am really, really excited. Hopefully they will do well there. I mentioned this in the last video as well, but I won't be there for the grand opening, which is like, disappointing for me because I really wanted to be there to see the whole thing, and especially because it's a cat cafe and, all the kitties are adoptable. I just thought the whole premise was like very me and very cute. And if you know me, I have cats, and so cats and yarn, like what is there to add besides like maybe beverages and stationery? But I knew immediately that I wanted to push myself to do it. Those who knew me from before the yarn channel might have known that I actually used to own my own art business. And it was amazing. Like I really loved doing it. It was my livelihood for 2 years, and even though it was a really rewarding experience, it was also like a little bit too all-consuming when it was my full-time job and it was my entire income or whatever. So this was really a great way for me to like dip my toes back in. I was just so enthusiastic, and those who knew me in real life even further might have known that I actually had a little bit of a teeny tiny stint in doing brand packages for other small businesses, because during that time of being an artist and everything like that, you have to wear so many hats and you have to understand so much about software and branding and marketing and all that stuff. And I actually really enjoyed it as a constrained kind of like creativity, to work with. And so I was really excited to come up with the branding and everything for this company. And so I kind of wanted to talk about it. I mean, it's like a very small thing that I'm doing. It's not really going to be like a big company or anything like that. But it is an artistic project, and it's an artistic project that is part of my knitting life, and that's what I document here. And so I'm really excited to share the next step of my fiber journey with you guys. So if you're interested in just kind of seeing what I'm doing and how I got to like the story and everything like that, and what I made for this first launch, keep on watching. I'm really, really excited. So I knew when I started this that I wanted it to be witch-based, but not necessarily my name, because my last company was called by Ourielle, and I used to do that, and I felt like it was just like too me-centered. Like I'm not necessarily, like I like making the art, I like doing a lot of different kinds of art, but I didn't want, first of all, the name Ourielle is kind of hard for people to read and remember, and second of all, I wanted it to be like you could see that it was my brand, but not necessarily be like so person-centered. Like I just really didn't like that. It was something that I did the first time because I just didn't really know any better, but now that I had the chance to like not make it me-centered, I didn't want it to be me-centered. But I did want a mascot character. And I wanted her to be cutesy and representational and nice, and I wanted it to have to do with the Stitch Witch theme, so that way you could like link the two together. But I wanted it to be more cute and like cuddly than anything else. So let's talk a little bit about the aesthetic and everything first. So the company name, Little Witch Studio. I think that it speaks for itself, like Stitch Witch podcast, Little Witch Studio, not necessarily like one-in-one, like you could link the two by name directly, but you can see the connection there. And from the beginning, I wanted everything to be extremely cute and to be witch themed. And I actually went out of my way to like put together a mood board of the different witch themed logos and like what I wanted my stuff to look like. So this is like what it would look like if you went to a graphic designer. And like I used to work with a graphic designer and everything, so I learned all the whole like, who are you targeting? What do you want it to say? Like, what are the different formats of everything, whatever. Obviously not like this is not a professional level of it, but you do think about like what you want your brand to evoke. And I knew I wanted a witch logo. There is a company called Fat Witch that does these really adorable brownies, and I loved this logo because it was one that my friend used to bring me little brownies from the city, and I knew that that was kind of like the vibe that I wanted. But I felt like Fat Witch from Fat Witch New York was a little bit too scribbly, so I didn't want it quite as scribbly. I knew I wanted it to have like an East Asian minimalist look, so I wanted the art to kind of look like, I was thinking like Korean cafes or like Scandinavian kind of cartoon drawings. I wanted the face to be super minimal. I wanted the mascot to be really adorable and cutesy. So I thought of Isabel from Animal Crossing because everyone loves Isabel. Like she's such a beloved mascot, and she's just so like squishable, and she kind of looks like a soup dumpling. So that was the other inspiration that I had. The last time I did branding for myself, I was really into the like serif Gothic font, black letter, old medieval typeface, lots of flourishing. But I just found that it was a little, what's the phrase? Like the yarn company is not going to be quite as targeted. Like the aesthetic of my art brand last time was extremely specific. And it was fine that I went with a really, really Gothic aesthetic. But for Little Witch, I didn't want it to be strictly like alt in that sense. I didn't want it to be so hard alt coded. I wanted the witchiness to be part of it for sure. But I wanted like a softer, more Scandinavian, modern look. So I wanted a really, really wide sans serif. I thought about different witches. I thought about my favorite yarn brands also, like brands that I really adore the packaging of. Specifically, I thought about Rose and Pomar. I thought about La Bien Aimée, Ritual Dyes, and that's it. The thing that I wanted to make sure was that I was keeping my overhead low for packaging costs, because that can really get away from you, and it got away from me last time, which is why ultimately I didn't really keep any money from my previous business. I was just spending way too much on custom packaging and like going all out. I mentioned this in my last video, but like a lot of your overhead is going towards things that you would never really even think of, including buying assets to certain graphics or like buying certain types of card paper, like paper, embossing, vellum paper. Like how are you cutting it? Is it a weird size? Are you getting it foiled or embossed? And like, how many are you buying at a time? And is it coming from a different country? So I wanted the labels to be simple and like memorable, but not so ugly. Like I wanted them to be nice enough that you would want to cut them out and put them in your journal. Cause like I scrapbook and I junk journal. And when I see a cute label, especially for yarn, if it's a really nice label, I want to keep it in my journal and I want to be able to like write about it. And that was one of the things that I really wanted for my label, was I wanted it to be something that people would want to preserve and keep in their homes. And I think I did that. We'll talk a little bit about like my first interpretations of the aesthetic. And yeah, I don't want to like keep you guys waiting too much, but like I don't know. It was like a big labor of love is what I'm trying to say. And it was really fun to kind of decide what I wanted. And this process of ideation is the thing that I really like about any creative project, right? But I came up with this label. I mean, I'll show you guys the labels up close later, but it's Little Witch Studio. The Little Witch is teeny tiny, and she's stirring a little dye pot cauldron. And she's got like a little stack of books. She's got a flower vase. And I will say, I also have a sweater soap that I designed a label for, and that one is like a little witch and a sheep, and that one is also really sick and adorable. But yeah, so as soon as I finished the packaging and the actual like logo for everything, it was time to get going because I needed to dye a whole bunch of stuff. She had requested that I make around 100 to 120 skeins of yarn, which for someone who has never like produced that much yarn at once was a big ask. But I had known so much about the dyeing process in terms of like the theory that I really wanted to like operationalize very quickly. And I'm a systems-based thinker anyway, so and it's a lot of what I do for work. So it ended up being okay. We ended up doing like conference calls, product experimentation. I put together a slide deck to like, pitch the different options for like creating a exclusive colorway to the store and like how that collaboration would work out. It's all very fun. I haven't done it in a hot minute, so I haven't like been doing, freelance negotiations for a long time, but I kind of do miss it. Like there is a part of me that was really, really happy to have a very stable career, where, like the job is consistent and I come in and I do my job, and my job is very like not artsy in the least. I mean, I have a job that's, thinky and like mathy, and actually quite a bit of like legalese and whatever, but it's not at all the kind of like creative flexing that I used to be able to do for work. And so this was like really, it was really, really fun to get down to it. I want to talk about some of the yarn bases that I'm working with because I have, my God, so many yarn bases. I kid you not. I mean, I don't think I will continue to keep dyeing this many yarn bases. It's just like a little ridiculous. And once you really start to like amass a whole bunch of them, I think it makes it more confusing than anything else to have so many. But I do want to go through just a few of them. So I have, I don't even know where to start. Okay, I think I'm going to start with the ones that we already talked about because I think it's a little bit easier to not go overboard. But the first thing that I have is my store exclusive colorway. Now, I have them on 2 bases, really, really luxurious. I'm going to come up closer so I can show the class. But this is the Nitty Kitty and Little Witch Studio exclusive design. And this is the yarn on our Silken Veil, which I mentioned last time. This is a, let me read it specifically, on my cute little label here, like look how professional. Honestly, look how professional. Okay, this color is called Soft Paws, which I think, I don't know if I mentioned last time that we came up with this name, but Soft Paws, which is a thing that I say when I want my cats to jump on me and be polite. This is a finger weight yarn at 328 yards, 64% baby sari alpaca, 26% grade A mulberry silk, and 10% stellina. And it is absolutely luscious and soft. I'm currently knitting a bandana held double with the regular DK weight yarn. So the regular DK weight yarn looks like this. And this is an exclusive label that I did with her colors. Like the store is orange and purple. And I basically just recolored it. But adorable DK weight yarn. 232 yards of 20.5 micron merino, so extremely fine merino, 20% grade A mulberry silk, and 5% stellina. So slightly less sparkle in this one, and this one has a silver sparkle as opposed to a iridescent sparkle, but absolutely incredibly soft. Like this is 20% silk, I mean, and it feels it. It's so luxurious, and you can see that shine in the yarn itself. And this is non-superwash yarn, so like most of my, I will show you guys, but I said last time that I didn't want the yarn to be superwash, so 99% of my 99% of my yarns are not superwash, but I have just a few one-off skeins that are superwash. But yeah, so that was my first one. So that is my Silken Veil, which is my sparkly alpaca-based one. And then this is my Siren DK, which is my sparkly DK base. Now, the reason why these are separate bases is because they have that really high silk content and that stellina in it. And that makes them like a little bit different. Now, the other one that is a little bit different are my... Now, well, do I want to do the regular ones first or do I want to do the weird ones first? I think we'll do the weird ones first. Next, I have my Homestead worsted. Now, this is a 100% Highland wool, meaning it's slightly more rustic, and it's actually more rustic than the other wool that I'll talk about later, but it's not really that rustic. I would say if you, I mean, it's calling it a rustic wool is not fair. I think there is definitely a thing as like rustic wool. This one is definitely still soft. It's just like not merino. It's just like your regular wool. But I have this one in the color Poisonberry, and hopefully I'm holding it just right so that you can see how beautiful and like glowy it is. It's like a glowy orchid color. Absolutely stunning. This is 220 yards for 100 grams, 100% Highland wool. But honestly, like I wouldn't even really call these that scratchy or anything like that. They're just not merino. I think like when you use a lot of merino, you're used to wool feeling exceptionally soft, but I don't know. I most often use this kind of wool, which is like a middle of the road wool. This one happens to be Highland wool, but it's not like scratchy and it's not soft. So it's neither rustic nor particularly soft. It's the middle of the road wool. It'll be a nice, hard wearing, you know, durable fiber. But I only made the one batch of Homestead because I bought the one batch of Homestead. So I think I have what, like 4 or 5 balls of it here, but that's it. And I don't know how it'll go. Like personally, I like this kind of wool, but I only dyed up one sweater's quantity, and we'll see if there are any takers for it. Because, you know, I know that merino tends to be more popular, so that's what I bought and dyed more of. And I tested those more thoroughly just because I wasn't as familiar with it. But this kind of yarn I use all the time, so but I don't know how it works in the general public. I looked it up and it seems like kind of a worsted weight normal to rustic wool is not super popular, not as popular as the other stuff. So that's all I have for my Homestead. That's all I have for my homestead wool. The last time I talked about my actual traditional worsted base yarn. Now this is the one that I will be carrying in the shop. This is the one that I stand behind because I think it works for almost every single application. I think this is like my perfect worsted weight yarn. And then again, I don't know. If I want to try out more, I'll try in the future, but I think this one is like pretty much the perfect one. This is a, let's see how much, it's 21.5 micron merino, so extremely fine. This is technically considered fine merino. 100 grams, 218 yards, non-superwash, but it is a high twist wool, which means that this stuff is going to be really durable over time. So it's kind of like a sock yarn, but not with any like nylon, not with any superwash treatment. It's just like all the benefits of a really smooth, juicy yarn that's plump and round with great stitch definition, and it gets nice and plump when you wash and block it, but it doesn't have any of the like other stuff in it. So this is in my color Diaphanous. I showed it more thoroughly in my last video with the swatch and everything, but it is like my dream color. It has greens, blues, periwinkles, and lilacs. And I added a tiny bit of a secret something to give it like a extra zhuzh in the sunlight. So you'll start to see that chartreuse actually glows like quite amazingly. And the lilac just goes from like the palest, dustiest lilac to a really beautiful, dusty lilac, merging into a periwinkle. Like this one is absolutely gorgeous. I made a double of this because I wanted to use it for myself, and I ended up changing my mind and using a different product. But yeah, so this is my Hearth worsted base. It is my favorite because it's a high twist, very, very soft, fine merino that should have all the benefits of a very, very soft merino with no superwash treatment, but still extremely round and durable and extra twisted, so that way it can withstand like actual wear and tear. Because the biggest thing for me is like I want my sweaters to last a while, but I don't want them to be unbearable for people who don't wear a lot of wool. I have tested this on a lot of people who are sensitive to wool, and it's been given the thumbs up by non-knitters, which is I think like the biggest praise you can find for wool, because people who aren't in fibercraft are kind of like not as tolerant, right? Okay, next I have this really fun one, which I'm really eager to dye more of. This is my pixie fluff base. This was the thing that started it all. This is a really beautiful, I wish I could show you guys up close, fingering weight yarn, 437 yards in a 100 gram pack. But the reason why it's like this is because it is superwash merino, superfine alpaca, Donegal neps, and linen. So it's really lightweight. And that's why you were able to get this really incredible effect. It has these like little neon flecks in it, which is absolutely stunning and amazing. And I did it on a dark base. This one is in the color Astral Travel, because there was an actual thing that I wanted to, replicate with this. But I really want to try this with a lot of other pastel colors. I think it would look really cute in pastels. But seeing that we are going into fall, I didn't find that to be particularly appropriate for right this very minute. But we have a couple of these, a sweater's quantity's worth for the pixie fluff. I called it pixie fluff because I felt like the little flecks, the little neon flecks were so fairy-like. So I wanted something like a fairy-like name. And fluff obviously is after all of my, fluff yarns. So that way okay, you're supposed to hold it with something else, or that it is in some case a fluffy yarn, no matter what the instance is. I will say though, the superwash in this doesn't bother me whatsoever. So this is what I mean by like 99% of things are like non-superwash. This I treat as if it's not superwash at all, because the alpaca and the linen and everything, none of that indicates superwash treatment whatsoever. So I think maybe the superwash treatment for this one just contributes to it being very smooth. That's how I'm seeing it. Now the corresponding thing that I have for that is my Nimbus yarn. Now, this is the same colorway, Astral Travel. You can see that it is a bluey, almost kind of like what I'm wearing now, like a blurple, bluey, purple, variegated, soft tonals, with some parts being more cobalt, some parts being more of a dusty, steely blue. But generally, you can think of it as a soft tonal blurple. And this is a DK weight to 273 yards. You get actually quite a few more yards of this because this is a baby alpaca chain net yarn. Now, if you know me, you'll know that I actually hate chain net yarns. The reason why I actually really like this one is because the net of the chain net is shrunken down prior to, like after they throw the alpaca inside the chain. They shrink it down and then it kind of like traps all the fibers inside. So your fluff isn't falling out. I have the biggest problem with chainette. One, feeling ropey and unpleasant, and two, feeling like the stuff is shedding and shedding and shedding. And I will name drop because Drops is huge, but like Drops Air, for example, is a chainette yarn with a really, really similar makeup, but the construction is entirely different. So if you've tried Drops Air and you like the feeling of it being exquisitely soft, and you like that it has that alpaca and I think there's this polyamide feeling, and just the texture and the halo and everything is absolutely fantastic, but you don't like the, I don't know, it gives me the ick. I haven't heard anyone else say that that particular yarn gives them the ick, but I made this because I wanted it to be a dupe of the other one. And I think this is actually like quite effective because you get quite a bit of yardage in here as well. But yeah, I really like this one. Astral Travel, same for both of them. But okay, for some reason my memory card just decided to crap out on me. That was weird. I don't remember what I was saying. The only thing I was saying was that just know that Astral Travel was originally a color for me, and then I decided to be generous and share it, put it in the shop and see if anyone wanted it. And if no one buys it, then I will have it all to myself, and I'm very excited. I have a regular merino DK, and that is called Familiar. Familiar DK. I thought it was cute because the name familiar can be used as an adjective just to mean like something that I'm familiar with, but it can also mean your companion as a witch or a magical practitioner. So yeah, I named this with the thought of my little kitty cat in mind. And Familiar DK comes in superwash and non-superwash varieties. This one happens to just be the superwash variety. It is just a regular merino wool. This is probably the most standard wool base that I carry. If you have ever purchased literally any other like DK weight superwash wool from any other indie designer, it's probably this stuff. So I mean, that's not to diminish the quality of this. It's amazing. This one in particular is sparkly. So it has a little bit of that Selena in it, but you can see this color is called Spell Jar. Look at this. It's like the most perfect dusty. I mean, it almost matches my nails perfectly, right? It's like a dusty, oh yeah, that's like exactly my nail color. Oh my goodness. It's like a purpley steel. You know, when I was making this, I wanted a tonal gray and I wanted the tonal gray to have a really strong lilac undercurrent. There's actually a hair dye that came out that was like really inspiring to me. And so I used the hair dye as like my inspiration for this yarn. Did I nail it exactly? I don't think so because the actual dye I think is more saturated than this, but I really love the way this came out. Something about the shine is absolutely perfect. And I love the amount of tonality that I had in here. I used several different colors to achieve this. So it's not like one color, but kind of like hair dye where you're mixing a whole bunch of stuff to get one color that kind of, I don't know, it's like, it's exciting, but you wouldn't necessarily know how much like yellow or purple goes into a hair color until you're actually behind the chair and you're dyeing it yourself. But as a, you know, I'm considering them adjacent art crafts, what's the word? I can't think, I'm sick. I'm considering them adjacent crafts where you have to be very attuned to undertone and color and specificity. And so this one is one that I'm exceptionally proud of because even though on paper it just looks like a grayish purple, in reality, producing this color with this nuance and just this amount of variegation was exactly what I wanted. I wanted it to be like perfect for any kind of knitwear project where you can see that it's hand-dyed and you can see that it's interesting, but it's more interesting than a semi-solid, or like it's more interesting than a hand-dyed solid, but not so interesting that it would be bad in like a lace pattern or color work or anything like that. So really proud of this one. I love the name Spell Jar. I'm not personally one to do that many jar spells. I like other workings myself, but I know that they are popular in general. And so I thought, you know, I don't know, I just thought it was really cute. Okay, I'm looking at my stash and I think now we are finally at the point where I can talk about my regular schmegular yarn bases. Now these were the only two that I was originally going to carry. So when I originally started planning for a yarn collection, I was truly in my heart of hearts only going to do 2 different yarns. And then look where we are. So I can never commit to doing it small, but I originally was going to do 1 fingering yarn and 1 fluffy yarn and call it a day. And so I tested fingering yarns and fluffy yarns, holding them together, holding them separately, whatever. I talked about this in my last video. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to continue talking about it because I'm not over it. So we have my Charm fingering yarn. Now, this is my 100% 27 micron wool. Not quite as fine as a fine merino, but really, really, really close. Still considered a fine yarn. I believe. Maybe fine is 25 micron, and 27 is like technically outside of fine. Because if it was fine, I would have mentioned it. But yeah, 27 micron, so really, really small, very, very wonderful. But it has a lovely, lovely bloom. If you're looking at the color, B2, it's called Luna Moth, because I wanted something to go with a Luna Moth wing. I have a Luna Moth tattoo. I love Luna Moths. I am a product of my times, and I'm not unique, but I have to say, I think this color is like spot on. Like, I did it. I really did the thing. And I'm really pleased with it. Like, this is one of those things where, again, I don't want to part with my children. I think these look really, really good. This would look absolutely amazing in color work. But anyway, Charmed Fingering, which is my 100% fingering weight yarn. It is gorgeous. It has the ability to be worked out. I mean, it's a true fingering weight yarn. But you can, like, I don't know, it blooms really nicely. So you can knit it at the very, very fine, delicate, like wispy stage that it is, and it has like a medium amount of body, but you could also let it bloom and fluff up a little bit. And especially when paired with my Sylph fluff, I just think it is absolutely stunning. It works up like pretty standard at a DK weight gauge, more lofty at a higher, like you could definitely do worsted, like on 5mm needles if you wanted to, and have it just be like that much more airy and fluffy. But the thing that is really special about my Sylph fluff is that it is plant-based. Not entirely, but it is 37% Pima cotton. So almost 40% cotton and 40% baby alpaca. I mean, they're not exact. So 38% baby alpaca, 37% Pima cotton. So like 40, and then the last bit is 25% fine merino. So fine merino, baby alpaca, and cotton, I mean, that is amazing. It's so soft. This stuff is genuinely so good. It's so, so, so good. It has fluff, but it doesn't really shed that much. So I love, love, love. I love this. I think the pixie fluff is amazing, but I will be the first to say that I find that this like alpaca stuff does shed. And I don't know what the difference is. This one is super fine alpaca. This one is baby alpaca. I don't know if like baby alpaca sheds less than the super fine alpaca. I couldn't tell you, but this stuff doesn't shed nearly as much. Ultimately, your fluff yarns are going to shed to some capacity because they are fluffy. But I was really impressed by this when I was testing it out, because I think this is a newer base on the like, you know, indie dyeing wholesale like situation. And I don't see that many of these on the market. Then again, I'm not like an indie connoisseur, so maybe it's not like that exciting. But in terms of like my local yarn stores and like what I've been seeing in my area, I have not seen a composition like this before. So if there was one thing that I would recommend, it would be this one. But I don't know why I'm recommending it. I don't really have a way to sell these via YouTube, but I'm just excited. I'm really excited for the fluffs. So that was Luna Moth. And you can see that the Luna Moth, well, all of them, you'll notice that the colors will take differently depending on your yarn base, which I think creates even more dimension when you hold them together. So I actually really like that effect. I like that the like fluff has the halo, and the halo tends to be a little bit lighter. And I like that the charm yarn, which is just like your plain wool, absorbs the color just a little bit faster. The color strikes a little bit better. It's more saturated. None of these are superwash treated. So yeah, 100% my jam. So the other colors that I made, I would like to show you. First one I have here is called Unicorn in Captivity. This is a really, really rich teal. And my eyes are blowing out because I'm staring at this ring light. So if I look dazed and confused, I'm sorry. But this one is called Unicorn in Captivity because it is inspired by the background of the tapestry Unicorn in Captivity. It is probably my favorite medieval tapestry. There's not that many that I'm aware of. So like, I'm not that unique in liking it, but I do live near the cloisters and I saw it when I was a child. And I was really moved by it because I was a child and I liked unicorns and I liked medieval history or whatever. So to me, it's always been a special piece. And it's a special piece for a lot of different people. So I don't necessarily, I'm not here to claim like I'm more special than other people by like wanting to like something that other people don't like. I like a really amazing tapestry that has been moving and touching to people throughout all the hundreds of years in history that it has been there to move and touch people. And I'm not afraid to admit it. The next time I do this batch, I might want it to be slightly more green and a little bit less blue. But it is sitting somewhere between that like dark blue teal, like the really dark teal, and the really blue kind of evergreen color on the green scale. And the next time I do it, I might shift it a titch more green just to match that color a little bit more, a little more green and maybe a little bit more yellow. But the fluff is kind of coming out closer to the thing that I wanted to exactly. And it's interesting, like the way that they take across the different batches. But yeah, this one is Unicorn in Captivity. Next I have, I didn't do too, oh, I love this one. Okay, I can't pick a favorite. I'm really bad at this. Next I have Love Potion. This is a, oh, look at this. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's like a dusty plum mauve brown. Is that too many words? To me, when I was making this, and the reason why I called it Love Potion is because in Love Potions, you usually, crucially, will use dried rose petals of some sort, of some kind. I wanted there to be a dusty, like burgundy-based brown, or like a burgundy-based taupe, or like a plum-based rose, brown, purple, you know, something that I would wear, essentially, is what I'm getting at. So this is your really sophisticated mix of brown and gray and purple and pink, all put together into this really, like, honestly expensive looking, this is an expensive looking yarn combo. When I look at this, I really do think it's quite sophisticated. I think if this doesn't go, I will immediately pilfer this and make it into a fall sweater. I think this is like the quintessential fall color. And I think it works well for a lot of different people. So for me, I wanted something cool toned, and yet something definitively brown based and not, I don't know, like it's as cool of a plummy, mauvey, grayish color that I can wear before it gets a little bit too unflattering. I find that purples are really hard to get right in my mind, right? Which is why there's so many purples here, because when I go shopping for yarns, it is just really hard for me to get a purple that I want. Even this orchid color, I can't really find exactly the shade of orchid. I mean, you can, but then there's like the base question and everything like that. But anyway, the color that is harder to find for whatever reason is this like really saturated yet grayed out tertiary brownish, mauvey, dusty rose color. I have no notes for her. I wrote down my formulation for this, but I'm terrified that I won't be able to reproduce it exactly because this one is perfect. This batch is perfect, and I don't want to do it again, lest it ever be even slightly different. But this one is absolutely gorgeous. I hope she goes to a really good home. I can't wait to see this worked up. I mean, I won't, again, I didn't save like my own versions of these, so you know, I won't know what it'll look like as a finished product just yet. You know, I didn't have the like capital to buy versions for me to like keep one of everything for myself. And so all I can hope is that Love Potion goes to a person who can appreciate the like nuance of this undertone, because I love her so much. I think I don't know. To me, I really liked it. Okay, do I have just one more? I think I have only one more colorway to show you guys. And I'm really excited about this one as well. I say that about every single one because obviously I'm going to be excited about every single one that I make. Next, we have Venusian. So Venusian was my solution to my warm toned friends out there who wanted something from my collection because I don't necessarily like make a lot of warm tones. And that is actually part of my brand, like, at least for now, is that, you know, as someone who likes brighter colors, who likes less natural looking colors, and specifically I like less natural looking colors that are cool toned, but still quite sophisticated, I do find it pretty much limited to blue. And like, obviously there are a lot of cool blues, but there's not a lot of cool pinks. There's not a lot of cool lilacs or purples. There's not a lot of cool greens, actually. I mean, like, yes, there are, but it's one of those things where like, then you look at the base and you look at the material, then you look at the actual chroma levels and everything like that. It's like, there's not as much choice for cool toned colors as there is for warm toned colors. So for me, when I went out to start dyeing, obviously I started with dyeing everything that I would want to fill in holes in my wardrobe and holes in my, you know, like knitting capsule and everything like that. But I understand this, as much as it is a passion project, is ultimately there to like sell. I'm here to sell a product. And so I also figured it would be nice to throw a bone to the people who like peaches and pinks and like warm yellows and stuff like that. So I came up with Venusian because, you know, Venus correspondences, the colors are love-based, warm, very feminine, like traditionally girly colors, right? Like pinks, oranges, peaches, yellows, gold, very lush, very beautiful. I wanted something that was summery still. I wanted something that was sophisticated and like could look naturally dyed, right? And I think part of that sophistication is that blending a sense of nuance. And so this is Venusian in my regular charmed base, my charm base. And then this is Venusian in the fluff base. And you can see the way that they took the dye differently because the dye, again, strikes the different fabrics in a different way. I find the fluff to be actually much more sophisticated in the sense that the colors seem to blend a little bit more. And you can see really the rosy, peachy undertones more slowly, like they tend to mix a little bit more and fluff out. Whereas in this one, it's kind of more of like a true, almost tie-dye look. All of my yarns, by the way, are going to be quite gently painterly and watercolory. I don't do the like really strong variegation where you get like strong contrasting stripes all that much. The most contrasty stripe one I have is my diaphanous one, and even that one is very blended, very mixed, and everything is roughly of the same value. So that way when you knit up a swatch or you knit up your project, you're not going to get blotches of light and dark. I'm not personally a huge fan of that. So yeah, I really, when I was dyeing this, really focused on final fabric more than I did the strikingness of the piece. You know, because like you look at a ball of yarn and you're thinking of like the ball of yarn as its own thing. But for me, when I was doing this, I really wanted the actual piece that it works into to be just as beautiful as the yarn in the skein. So yeah, that's what I focused on. I think that's everything. Those are all of my colors. Man, I mean, it really has been like 2 months of this nonstop, and I feel like I feel like when I recorded this, it felt a little bit less than that, but that is everything. I have a photo of me like standing in front of all my yarns and like beaming like a little idiot because I was just so proud of all the stuff I did. I also had Porcelain Rose, which I can grab for you because I was working on that last time, and this was another yarn that I made. Obviously, I didn't bother putting labels on them because these were just like my own personal yarns, but Porcelain Rose is another example of like, this is a very, very cool toned strawberry milk pink, very hard to find for whatever reason. And when you do find it, it's commercial. I wanted it hand dyed. I wanted it to have really, really light variegation, like basically almost no variegation. So that way when it's on the body, you can see that it has dimensionality, but it's not necessarily looking like stripes and it's not taking away from anything that I'm knitting. Again, with the focus on looking good in a final garment. Not that variegated yarns don't look good, but I do think they can be trickier to plan for than completely solid commercial dyed yarns. Now, that is everything. Those are all of my colors. I am really, really proud of what I was working on. And now that I am like packing these all up, so these are all going to be packed up. I don't think I will have the ability to like take photos of everything. So that's like rather unfortunate. Maybe when I'm there, I'll take pictures like in the store with the setup. I'm really eager to see how the store chooses to set up the yarn display and everything. Yeah, it's surreal. Like I am really excited to see this. I haven't done the like store boutique wholesale like negotiation thing in so long that I forgot like the adrenaline with like pitching a deal and like doing all this stuff and meeting new people. And considering that I think the business owner and I are similar ages, it's just like all the more amazing. It's also not that far from me, so hopefully I can show up and do like the community fiber nights with them. It's just really like amazing, and I'm so happy that I had the experience to do so. But yeah, this was what I was working on for the last like couple weeks. You know, for those of you guys who placed advent calendar orders, thank you so much for that. That's now going to be like my full and entire focus. Did I already like set up an initial batch run? Yes. I can't stop. You know, if you know me, then you know that that's kind of like how I've been rolling my whole life. But yes, FAQs, that one is not coming back. So for the advent calendar, I know some of you guys are new to advent calendars, and I got some messages that were like, are you doing this again? Are you selling it on your site? One, I don't really have a way to sell these online as of right now. Again, last time I ran my business, so much of the price was just like overhead, and like keeping a website was honestly like $100 a month or whatever, and it was just like really expensive. Now, am I opposed to using something like Etsy? Like, not really. So if you guys like really want to buy any of these like permanent color yarns or whatever, let me know. I mean, it wasn't necessarily my intention. I was just going to, you know, see how the in-person store went and, you know, go from there. But I would love to be able to share my yarn with a bigger audience. Like, I think it would be really fun, and I would find a great deal of joy and meaning out of doing that. But as of now, I don't really have an official storefront. But for the advent calendar itself, payment options and everything have been sent through already. I'm only doing it the one time. We're not going to do multiple runs. If you actually still want an advent calendar, I'm actually doing 2 inventory orderings. So the first batch of initial people who wanted it, it's already been ordered, and I already like accounted for all of them. That's since closed. But some people weren't able to pay on time or whatever. And my feedback was, well, if you want it, but you can't pay now, then I'm just not going to guarantee that you're going to get it before October. So I guess I'll leave the form open. So if you don't mind that I can't guarantee that you get it before October, then go ahead. Like, it makes no difference to me whether you buy now or later. But at this point, I'm like just know that if you're ordering at a later time, you may or may not get your advent in time for October 1st to open one every single day until October, Halloween or Samhain. But yeah, you know, if you were the person who also left a comment saying, I would love to buy your advent calendar, but I can't because I can only use merino, I replied to your comment. I don't know if you saw it. I can order you a merino yarn. That's totally fine. Send me an email. Yeah, that is it. I don't really have any solutions for selling online, even though I would love to do that. It's just that for me, keeping a domain and like spending money on like, you know, all the payment facilitators and the fees and all of that, it does take a lot off the top. And when I'm already pricing, like my yarns are priced at $25, which is coming at my expense, right? Like you'll know that that's not the standard price for most hand-dyed yarns because it's not really that sustainable. For me, I'm lucky that I do this as like a fun hobby, and it's like a hobby that pays for itself, but it's really not something that like, I don't know. Now that I do this at a bigger scale, I can really appreciate the indie dyers who sell their yarns for a higher price, because it's one thing to dye yourself blanks and not sell them, not package them. Like you don't have to buy like a whole range of dyes and anything like that. But now having gone through the process of like, okay, like now I have to buy the license for all this stuff, and I have to buy the special paper, and I have to buy the packaging materials, and I have to buy the fancy printer, or I have to have a subscription for a fancy printer, and then I have to, you know, test all these different things and write down the operations for all these formulas and make sure that I batch test so that all of them are the same. Now doing that at scale, and also buying material to dry all this stuff at scale and hang it at scale, I forgot, like, yeah, you know, let's be patient and generous with our independent small business owners, because it's very different to do something for a hobby and then turn around and then do it for money. And I have to say, I was wrong. Like, I'm sorry to, you know, anyone who I maybe said something was expensive. And like, I have always tried to make a point to not say something is expensive, especially when talking about something being too expensive for what it's worth, especially vis-a-vis like someone's labor, right? Usually I will say it's too expensive for me, or like it's like not what I'm willing to spend. And yeah, like honestly, like for me today, I'm not really willing to spend $40 on a hand-dyed skein of yarn unless it's exceptionally, exceptionally special. And not that I thought like, man, it's not worth that money, but I did think, surely there's a way for you to do that, selling it a little bit less. And there's not really. There's not really. So I'm happy that I was able to have this opportunity to sell local. I'm happy that I was able to have this opportunity to like do this whole creative thing. And like, if I'm lucky, this stuff will move and I will be able to make the money back that I spent on it. And if I'm not lucky, then, you know, I will have just spent a lot of money on yarn for the rest of the year, and I will have all the yarn that I need to knit all of the stuff for the next couple of years in my personal wardrobe. And, you know, if I'm really unlucky, I will get back here and be like, hey, none of these sold. Does anyone want? And I'll pawn them off, you know. But it's given me a greater appreciation for indie dyers, that's for sure. Like, I definitely was part of the group that was like, holy shit, like $35 for a skein of yarn, that's like basically one color. Like, I don't know, why would I not just buy like the cheapest possible thing at the store? And luckily, I've learned. So yeah, it's just been a really fun artistic process in terms of like, I think there's a business rigor that is fun. And I don't think it's fun for everyone, don't get me wrong. And I do think, you know, bookkeeping and administrative logistics is like not for every artist. But it's also been fun mostly from an artistic perspective because I get to play with color. So yeah, very, very exciting stuff for me. On the horizon is the advent calendar. That one is going to be a much harder gambit. Thank you to everyone who placed orders, by the way. We've officially closed on that first batch. 25 orders have been received. It's going to be a lot of dyeing. And again, I'll reiterate, if you guys want to place another order, go ahead. I just can't guarantee that it'll get to you exactly on time. I mean, it might. I don't know, honestly, what the workflow is going to be like. It's all brand new. But I hope this was exciting. It probably isn't going to be as exciting for you as viewers as it is for me. But I just can't wait. I can't wait to you know, take video footage of the store when it gets there. You know, hopefully the owner is going to be able to like, you know, send me lots of photos of grand opening and everything. I don't know, just good vibes all around. Thank you so much for being here and sharing this with me. I mean, it's kind of just surreal that it's all come full circle again, you know, like to doing the small business artsy, you know, like one woman show thing again, because I swore that I would never do it again. And it was so much stress and I would never, put my life on the line like this. And yet I am so happy. I'm so happy and so fulfilled. And it feels like the greatest privilege of my life to do so. Like I mentioned this in my emails for the advent calendars, but like being able to do this with you folks and like seeing all the messages that I got on my survey where people were like sending me really kind emails and I don't know, just like I clearly actually exist just to people. And it's wild because, as a content creator, I think there's like, it does feel like I'm talking to a box and like, I don't know who the hell is on the other side, So this has just been a really fun experience. And if it's a one-time thing, then I'm really grateful that I got the experience to do it the one time. And I'm happy that the shop took a leap of faith on me. And hopefully, they will have pretty shelves for the time that these are all the shelves. And if it's not a one-time thing, I'm really excited to continue doing this. And I would love to continue sharing my finished objects. If you guys want to see more of my like dyeing adventures and stuff, please let me know. If you don't want to see any of this ever again, because it sounds like a huge ad, then I totally understand and I won't do that either. But like for me, this was a huge labor of love in terms of like coming up with a concept, coming up with names. Like have like a whole list of names in my journal. I actually filled up like an entire traveler's journal with like all of my notes for this because it's just been such a project. It's been fun. It's been like honestly really amazing. I have so many freaking files on my computer that need organizing because, formatting is hell and like, going back and forth on font and serifs and like letter spacing and printing stuff is like miserable or whatever. But ultimately it all led to this. And this to me looks really professional and really like finished. So I wanted to share it. But yeah, leave your feedback down below. I'm open to any and all feedback. And, hopefully, I don't know, y'all are happy for me. I'm happy for me. But yeah, that's it for today. I'm sick. My throat is in a lot of pain. So I'm going to stop, take a nap, drink some tea, make some dinner, and edit this video before I have to ship these out. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys for being here and for commenting, sharing, like hyping all that stuff. It's really brought me some really awesome opportunities. So thank you so much. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!